Hey yo, what is going on guys? Cash and Clean as always. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about efficient ways of farming to maximize your potential, because I see a lot of people kind of just focusing on one thing, which is fine. And the further you get into the game, it's gonna be like that. But when you're an early game, mid game player, even an end game player, you could still apply these things. So let's just take this for example. I'm sure maybe you guys need crystal 4s, maybe even crystal 5s, and maybe you need perma torches, and maybe you need to finish the Paragon badge. So that is a lot of stuff. And I guess Delve Completion, another badge you can go for the completion for. You can combine all of these things into one run. And you can advertise that to get more people interested. Because if you're advertising just a Crystal 4 run, there might be people that don't want that. But if you add in perma torches, for example, then that might open some ears. And when I say advertise it, you can do /join delve, and maybe you can find a group there. Because chances are, you might not be able to find people that are just hosting themselves in there. So what I tell people is just host it yourself, because more people are likely to join you rather than the reverse. But that can change. Sometimes you might get lucky, somebody might be hosting, you can just join them, or maybe somebody from your club. And that's the other thing, you can advertise in the club chats as well, as long as you're in them. If you're on PC, I made a video about that, so you can join their discords. I left a bunch of links in the description, so you can feel free to check them out. Or if you find somebody else and you can just join their club. What I recommend is if you do join a club, make sure they also have a Discord. It's okay if they don't, but it's just handy that way. That way it's like kind of after hours type thing. If you're trying to sell something, Trove Discords usually have like a trade specific channel and you can say want to buy, want to sell. But either way, that's besides the point. We're talking about farming efficiently here. So that's like the biggest thing. Combine your farms, because there's a lot of stuff to farm for. Crystal 4s, Crystal 5s, doing delve depths 115 and higher. I say 115 because that was the old U10, which is the current D13, and that's just where you get Crystal 4s. And then you have the chance of getting a Crystal 5 if you keep on continuing. Maybe you can get lucky. There is obviously that myth of the 51 key method. Now, it's not a myth, it does exist. It is 51 keys, and I will stand by that until the end of Trove. But as far as Crystal 5s go, I don't think there is a specific number for that. It's just random. But I've never heard of like a specific number of people getting it after a specific amount of depth. So it might just be random, but it might also be a specific number. I really don't know. I don't really actively go farming for them in delves. But like I was saying, you can continue these farms and you can just loop them over and over. You just need the specific portal. So for Ifera, for example, you can pick up an Ifera depth stepper from the hub if you go to the right side. And if not, then you can get it from the marketplace. And I believe there's also a place you can get it for credits. I don't really recommend that unless you have absolutely nothing to spend them on, but there's a good chance there's something else you can spend them on or save for something else. And then I do know on Fridays, so far pretty much every Friday, and this is around like, I don't know, maybe like around 1 a.m. EST or something like that. Usually Mr. Clunker's live streams on Twitch, and he does do Ifera runs. So you can feel free to join him. He does carries. If you want to, you can say Cash and Clean sent you there, but he's a really nice guy. So please don't give him a hard time or anything. And if he's full, if he has a bunch of people in his run, just be polite about it. Sometimes that happens. But that's the other thing. You can check the Twitch category on Trove, or wait, backwards. Trove category on Twitch, and you can see if there's somebody live streaming. Chances are there might be somebody, depending on when you're watching it. I know there's not that many people that do it, but there are people that do it. And there's also a ton of giveaway live streams. So if you do want to win prizes like, I don't know, Flux, Geode resources, anything like that. I know Beijing, Omar, Pika, and some others also do giveaway stuff. So there's a lot of people that do it. If that interests you, you can maybe try checking out if they're actually live streaming. If not, then you'll probably have to wait or just farm on your own until whatever ends up happening. But going back to the topic of farming efficiently, another big thing that I do want to mention is if you're just farming for a specific memento, for example, or a specific banner memento, they're very low mastery items. It's completely RNG, so you don't know if you're going to get it or not. I would highly recommend only going for that specific thing if it's going to benefit you somewhere else as well. Because we'll just use this as an example. So back in the day, I wanted to hit rank 1 mastery, so I had to farm the Corners of Cthulhu biome memento. That thing was a massive pain. If you guys know, you know, but that was probably the worst thing to farm for because that was before depth steppers and we had way less light. But I was at the point where I pretty much had everything, so I was just farming for that one thing. But the thing about Trove is that when you're farming an RNG item, you can spend the entire day farming for it and not get it at all. And it's not like I can use alts to farm it or anything because the mementos are just untradeable. And it would also be very sad if my alt account got a bio memento and my main account did not. But going back to what I was saying, doing stuff like that may feel like a giant waste of time because you're not really making progress with the game. I guess you're getting some delve resources and you're doing delves, which I guess helps for your badge if you still need to do that, and maybe some XP along the way. But it's a lot better if you tie it with something else. But usually for like memento farms, that's something specific you'll probably want to farm when you're like an endgame player. But I mean, if you're brand new, I guess you could. You can just do your weeklies, for example, and then if you get a memento, that's cool. But try not to make it like your sole purpose of only farming that one thing. See if you can tie it with other things. Also, while we're talking about mementos, just a slight tip for mementos, make sure you craft the mastery items with that memento before you actually learn it. So for Castle Catastrophe, for example, there's a couple mounts, maybe an ally, something like that. There's a couple things that require a memento in order to craft whatever mastery item it is. They have like a specific bench in the Castle Catastrophe area. The only reason why I say do not learn it and use it for those mastery items first is because once you craft the mastery item, you can start farming for the memento, but there's also the option of bronze Q-mentos, silver Q-mentos, and gold ones if your RNG is just really, really bad. Or you might get lucky from the heirloom cases, I think is what it's called. You might get the memento from there. But there's also things like banners, for example. You need a ton of mementos, so you need a memento to craft a specific banner, and you'll need a ton of free-range electrolytic crystals. So if you can, try to craft those items, and then once you're missing just the memento and nothing else tied with it, then it'll be a little bit easier because then at least you can just use a bronze Q-mento or something like that. And those are tradable. They are expensive, but at least you have an option for that. And I believe it's just the banners, the ones from the hub, the Delve workbench, and the ones from Castle Catastrophe. I might be missing one, but I'm pretty sure those are the main two ones. But hopefully these tips made sense. If you'd like to add on something, feel free to drop it in the comments down below. But like I said, the biggest thing, if you can, try to combine your farms with other things. You might need weeklies, so you can combine your weeklies with either farming a memento, farming Iferas, maybe a Daughter of the Moon. Doesn't really matter what you farm, as long as you're getting to your goal. But that's gonna be it for today's video. If you guys have enjoyed, drop a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, or if you find yourself coming back, and I'll see you guys later.